everyone who's joining us. So, uh, everyone, I'm super excited to have Bill Kraft and his wife, Joan Huang, joining us today. Um, Wonderful composers. Bill, as many of you know, uh, has written some great stuff for percussion and timpani, uh, the Timpani Concerti, the French Suite, many other things. And has had a wonderful career as a conductor, as a composer, and as an educator. So, anyways, I'm honored you'll be here, for you two to be here. So, thanks so much and welcome again.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people joining us here are familiar with your uh, timpani concerti. A lot of timpanists follow me,
Yeah.
and personally, those were the pieces I knew the most. And this week has been really fun preparing for this because I've gotten to listen to some more of your music, both of you actually, to Joan, wonderful stuff. And I definitely want to talk about that. I think this is a great opportunity for everyone, all the young percussionists joining us, to get familiar with a little bit of your work. But I want to get started when your career started, right? You both have interesting beginning of your careers. So, Bill, I believe you first played music or were exposed to music when you were 15. Is that correct?
Yeah, I started piano when I was 5.
Okay.
I stopped when I was 12 because we had moved to San Diego, and my parents got a new piano teacher for me who said to me, "Oh, we have to start all over again." I said, "You will by yourself. Bye-bye." So I stopped playing piano until I was 15.
Mm-hmm.
And in 15, my sister came into the bedroom. No, in the kitchen. Well, that was my bedroom at the time. We had just moved to San Diego, and my father rented a house just temporarily. Didn't have enough bedrooms, so my bed was in the kitchen. So my sister came into my bedroom kitchen and said, "You've got to hear this band." We never talked about jazz before or anything, you know. It was just a brother-sister relationship. He said, "You've got to hear this band." And it was Benny Goodman. He was broadcasting from the Palomar Ballroom in Los Angeles, and we were in San Diego. And that's what did it.
Mm-hmm.
I got interested in jazz, so I went to every single big band that came to San Diego because they all traveled through on touring, you know. So I heard Goodman, Basie, Barnett, all the bands, you know.
That's wonderful.
And I found myself graduating towards the drummer. And for the most part, I would go to if it were an open bandstand where the band was entirely in the open, not in a stage like that, I would go around to the back of the stage where the drummer was. I'd just stand there and watch the guy. So one night when I was watching Basie's band, I said, I have to decide what I'm going to play because I know I'm going to play jazz. So I went through the whole band. No, not the trumpets, not the trombones, not the altos, not the tenors or the bari. I watched Freddie Green, the guitarist. No, and then Walter Page, the bassist. No. And then I found myself hypnotized first by Basie, trying to figure out how he said so much with so little. You know, he just goes bing, bing, da-dum, ding. One note meant so much. And then I went to Joe Jones, the drummer. For a half hour, I realized that I stayed there without moving a bit. I was trying for one thing to analyze the way he played hi-hat. He would reverse the beat every so often, reverse the figure. So I was hypnotized. Next morning, I called my dad at his restaurant, and I said, "Dad, can I have a set of drums?" He says, "Yeah, just go over to the music store and send the bill to me." So that was it.
Wow, that's wonderful. That's a great story. So I had it wrong. So you had actually started with piano, because I was surprised. I was like, well, you started 15 was percussion, right? Drums and percussion.
Yeah.
Great. And Joan, you got more exposed. You were exposed to traditional Chinese music, right? When you were young, you were
They say that
to me, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Simon is asking.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, talking.
So when you were first exposed to music was to traditional Chinese music, is that correct?
No, actually, I was born in Shanghai, but Shanghai is very Western influenced. So my family actually is a musical family, and but we all in Western music. I wasn't interested in Chinese music until I came to this country. I thought it was the Chinese music. When I was young, I thought it was the Chinese music. It was too simple, a little bit unsophisticated. I always liked the Western music, but since I came to this country 34 years ago, then I began to really interest in my background, the culture heritage. I found it fascinating. So my recent years, a lot of music is with Chinese traditional instruments, with the Western instruments. That's that.
Yeah, I encourage everyone, all the percussionists listening, to check out Joan's pieces. The Legend of the Chang'e for violin and marimba. It actually won a prize for the International Composition Contest of Marimba, like the Nancy Salzman contest. So everyone should check that out. And I also saw you had this piece that Frank Epstein actually premiered. Well, I don't know if he premiered, but he has a CD recorded. Yeah. So everyone should check that out. It's on Spotify. So yeah, it's wonderful. So Bill, so after you learned drums, and then I believe you were in the Army for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And
I should have proceeded. I forgot. I played piano first. Started when I was 5 years old until we were 12. I said something about that teacher there.
Great.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So then you went to the was it the Army band, or did I get that right? The Army band or the Air Force band?
Air Force.
Air Force. You were in the Air Force band.
Yeah, we're always very particular about that.
Right.
Not the Army.
Right. My apologies. Yes.
Not a foot soldier, boy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So over there, you were exposed to other music. I believe you had a friend, and you guys would play on different pianos. You were like learning different styles of music. Is that correct?
Yes. I'm trying to remember where. I think we might have been in Europe on tour with the Air Force band. And I was an arranger by that time. So I arranged for the band, the dance band. And one day, we rehearsed a new arrangement of mine. It was for Stardust. My roommate, a trumpet player, asked me to write a trumpet solo on Stardust for him. And I refused. I said, Stardust, that's old hat. That's not done anymore. And he says, please, all my life I've wanted a solo on Stardust, all my life. And he begged me, so I said, okay, but I'll do it my way, which meant I was going to experiment and, and not do a standard arrangement. And I discovered the interval of the fourth. Great day. The lights on the head and everything. He said, oh, that's a great interval. So I built the introduction on the interval of the fourth. And this wonderful musician, a pianist, Saul Davis from New York, came to me and he said, you stole that introduction from Hindemith. And I said, who? He says, you don't know Paul Hindemith? I said, who's that? Is he an arranger? He says, oh boy, do we have things to talk about. So he would take me to different pianos. We were in Paris, stationed in the Air Force outside of Paris in a small town, Chantilly, which is known for the racetrack. And he would play the repertoire. He'd play Hindemith and talk about Hindemith. He'd play Bartok, talk about Bartok. It was the greatest musical education I ever had. Wow. It was what we call hands-on. You know? And that was really the beginning. It affected everything I did.
That's wonderful. And so you were already arranging some stuff and you were a percussionist. And then you went to New York and you had some great percussion teachers there that we would all recognize. Saul Goodman and Maurice Goldenberg, right?
Yes.
When you were in New York, was your heart in particular with composing or percussion, or were they equals?
I would say more percussion. Because I spent the time with lessons and then the times with practicing. No matter what, I was told to practice 2 hours a day. And no matter what I did, no matter what was going on with the rest of the homework, I practiced 2 hours a day. I was going to Columbia, which was 4 blocks away from, at that time, from Juilliard. So I could walk over and practice. Mo Goldenberg said, you could use my studio anytime you want, you know? So I would do that. Whenever I had a chance, I'd go over. He had said he wanted me to practice 2 hours a day. So I did. But if I had more, I'd just keep going. I love to practice, you know? Like, when I came to LA, I studied with Murray Spivak. I told him that at that time I was stationed in the Air Force at Kingman, Arizona. And every time I got a new rudiment, I would add 5 minutes to the practice time. And I got up to 5 hours.
Wow.
I came in for a lesson, you know, and I said, oh, Murray, I'm practicing 5 hours a day. So that's too much.
Okay.
I never thought a teacher would say that.
Wow,
He
interesting.
says 2 hours is enough. Well, that didn't bother me. I practiced all I wanted. We were stationed at a desert base, in Kingman, Arizona. I would get up at 6. I like to. At first, I wanted to always practice on my drum, not in the pad. I took the drum out in the desert, and I was thinking that I'm in the desert. There's a lot of sun here, and in one day I cooked all the heads. You know,
wow.
I was wondering what's happening to the sound.
Wow.
So I would take my practice pad out into the desert and practice there, and then come into lessons. Every time I had a 3-day pass, I would come into Los Angeles before going home in San Diego and have a lesson on Friday. And then I would come back and see him on Sunday. I don't know why I saw him twice. I guess it was because I only had those lessons, 1 month.
But help me. So were those lessons in LA? Was that after you went to Columbia, or was
Oh,
that before?
no, I was just 19.
Right, right. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So you were really into percussion, and then that's when you went to New York, and then you had a lot of stuff coming at you, right? Was that when you started conducting as well? Because that was also an important part of your career.
No, I didn't do. I studied conducting, but I didn't do any.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think.
And then you went to Tanglewood. Didn't you go to Tanglewood and you studied with Leonard Bernstein? Is that correct?
Well, yes, it was a class in
Hmm.
conducting, but we all had a chance to conduct. He insisted that we have that experience with a live group.
Hmm.
That was quite an experience. Tango would change my whole life. I
Hmm.
came back to my home in San Diego and told my mother I had to get out of San Diego and go to New York and start from the beginning. I had to study everything. I said, Mom, I know nothing. You know, at Tanglewood, I was mixing with the cream of the crop. The best students came from all over the country. They had much more experience than I did on the average. So I was embarrassed that I didn't know anything. Didn't know anything about music. The music education in San Diego was dismal. And the music scene in San Diego was dismal. They couldn't keep an orchestra. They never could. The backers could never agree on anything, and the orchestra would start. And then it would break up, and it finally got going, of course. But I would go back.
Yeah. So you ended in New York, which is that is exciting. You were having great percussion teachers, great composition teachers. Is that
Every
correct?
Yeah.
And how was your transition? You ended up going to the Dallas Symphony, right? You ended up going to Dallas before Los Angeles. Did I get that right also?
That's right. Yeah.
Um, so,
I got a job without an audition,
wow.
just on the word of Mo Goldberg. You
Okay.
know,
It's Dallas.
Hmm.
Walter Handel, the conductor, called Mo and said he needed a percussionist and a mallet percussionist.
Hmm.
And Mo said, yes, I have him. Get Bill Kraft.
Hmm.
So that's how I got the job. Yes.
And then when you were in Dallas, you were just in Dallas for 1 year, if I'm not mistaken. Then you went to LA.
You know my life better than I do. Yes, I had a week off, and I read they were having auditions in Los Angeles.
Mhm.
Well, I had come to Los Angeles a few months before to take a lesson from Ben Podemsky, great
Wow.
cymbal player, you know,
Hmm.
but kind of a kind of a Nazi man.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
When I met him, he
Sorry, I'm talking.
our dog is
No worries.
Sorry.
yes, dear.
She wanted to get attention.
Yeah.
Oh no.
He wanted to remind me to say that I met Podemsky when he was playing with the LA Philharmonic, and I walked with him to catch his bus, and he said, he asked me if I had played this and that, Fra Diavolo, all these things from the late 19th century.
Huh.
I said, no, but I know that, the excerpts were in the books. I said, no, but I know the excerpt.
Uh-huh.
So I didn't make a good impression on him.
Huh. Well, evidently you got the job though, so
Well,
he must have liked you.
no. What happened? Wallenstein, the conductor of the LA Philharmonic, said, uh, where was I?
Audition.
With
I need Warrenstein.
Wallenstein.
Got you. Yeah.
Oh, well, later on, so I remember now, Podemsky was asking me if I had played this or that, all these late 19th century works.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he had played 25 years already with the Philadelphia Orchestra. And I kept saying, no, but I know the excerpt. No, but I know the excerpt. You know, so when the job was open, not long after that, Wallenstein, the conductor, called Mo Goldenberg to get a recommendation. And Mo said, get Bill Kraft. He's the best in the country.
Great.
And Wallenstein said, but Podemsky gave me a bad report on him. And Mo says, oh, that's Ben. Ben can't stand young talent. He tried to do the same thing to Mickey Brookspan in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the job.
Wow.
Just on Mo's saying.
That's amazing.
Influence. You know, Juilliard was the peak of the country in music, and so nobody who taught there, of course, was so respected. They simply took, he certainly took Mo's word. That's how I got the job.
That's wonderful. And then you had some really productive years when you were in LA. I mean, you were a percussionist for a little while, and then you became the timpanist of the LA Philharmonic.
Yes.
And then were you composing throughout those years while working in the orchestra as well?
Yes. I always composed.
You
know, I wasn't getting any performances, of course. But I just composed all the time.
Super Meta premiered when you were still...
that was much later. Much later.
Oh, okay.
That was like in the 80s, if I'm not wrong, when he started performing your pieces. Or was that before?
I saw that he premiered your percussion concerto.
Who?
Still, Super Meta.
Well, we're talking about 20 years after this.
Oh, this is the when you still play as the LA Philharmonic.
But Zubin wasn't the first conductor.
Yeah, but he when you would play you were one of the soloists for your percussion concerto.
Yes.
During the 60s.
Yes.
That's still in LA Philharmonic. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That's you said.
You don't mind sharing with me.
Yeah, so I just remind you that you know, Zubin did premiere your piece.
Yeah.
When you were still a player, when you still timpanist with LA Phil.
Before I think it was before I was timpanist.
Yeah.
Yes. So
I'm not sure. No, I was playing timpani.
Oh, you were playing timpani when you wrote this wonderful percussion concerto for percussion soloists, which I'm assuming your section from the LA Philharmonic performed with Zubin. And I mean, again, to everyone listening, hopefully, and more people will listen to this, hopefully young percussionists, they should really take a listen. There's a wonderful recording of the LA Philharmonic under Zubin Mehta of Bill Kraft's concerto for 4 percussion soloists, right? And I believe, Bill, this was the first one, the first percussion section concerto out there. Is that correct?
No, there were a couple. One by Mio, which wasn't a concerto at all, because every time the soloist would play, it was doubled by an instrument, say, with the oboe. Well, are you going to listen to the pitched instrument, or are you going to listen to the non-pitched instrument? Naturally, they went to the pitch, so I didn't think of that as proper. I say if you're going to have a concerto, the soloing instrument should be in the forefront. It should carry the ball, you know. So I said, I have to think thematically for percussion. I can't, can't think traditionally about melody.
Right.
Anyway, so that worked out very well.
It's wonderful. And actually, I'm curious, which concerto came first? Was it your first timpani concerto or your concerto for percussion soloists?
The percussion concerto for percussion.
Okay.
Are you all right?
Yes. I am all right over here. Are you guys okay? Wow. I really want to thank you guys, because I feel like, thank you for coming on Instagram Live. Isn't this wonderful? You get interaction. I see some people saying hello here, and they're sending us questions. Please, if anybody has any questions for us, type them in the question thing. We'll bring them up at the end.
I hear you have some of my old friends.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just
some of them.
Desi. Desi is from Chile.
Desi from Chile.
Yeah, from Chile. She's our friend. Desi Gerard. Desi, our friend.
Desi Stefan Gerard.
Yeah. She's from Chile, but she lives in LA now.
How does she figure?
I just got the message. Yeah,
we got Shannon Wood, principal timpanist of St. Louis. We've got Leonardo Soto, principal timpanist of Houston Symphony. So there's a few principal timpanists joining us today.
Oh, wonderful! Yeah.
How did Desi get involved?
I sent the link. Kind of.
This is a wonderful artist.
Yeah, Desi.
Wonderful. We should check it out.
From Chile, yeah.
And she does paintings that are huge, like 10 by 12 feet.
Wow.
She lays the canvas on the floor, and she paints.
And we got Cami also. Cami is saying hello. Cami.
From Uncle Bill, yeah.
And
Shannon, from Hello.
Shannon Wood. I believe Shannon Wood played your concerto.
Yeah, yes. He played the second timpani concerto by memory.
Simon Wood?
Shannon Wood.
Yeah.
He's with the St. Louis Symphony. Yeah.
Yes.
Shannon Wood is asking, when is the third timpani concerto coming out?
When the third?
But anyways,
I got the commission.
Oh, that's great. Great answer.
I'm not that commercial, though.
Okay.
I'm talking to a wonderful composer a long time ago, Leon Kirchner. He was teaching at Harvard. And no, he wasn't the one. It was Roy Harris, who is famous. You know Roy Harris. Maybe you don't.
I don't, but I should. Sorry. Yeah, it's in my ignorance.
And he was contemporary, Bernstein, older than Bernstein, but he had a reputation. His third symphony was played considerably around the country. I met him once. He had his symphony played in Los Angeles. We were walking down the hall, and he heard that I was also a composer. But he never talked about me. Never asked a question, never said anything about me. He just talked about himself and how much he was making He says, I have a $15,000 commission, you know. He's telling me all these things, and I'm a struggling composer, you know. Struggling means I'm not making any money. Yeah.
But so this is a great opportunity. Everyone should check out that album I was talking about. That includes the percussion concerto. It includes this wonderful piece, Contextures One, which is about riots in the 1960s.
Yes.
I mean, that's fascinating, and I think that's like, you know, if anybody's programming any music, I think that's so relevant right now. Right? It's just kind of relatively similar national discourse in some ways going on. So I think you have an artistic statement with that piece. Is that correct?
Some phone coming.
Oh, something happened.
I hang up.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. No,
good.
Yes,
I hope it's not important. I hope it's not important. So anyways,
no, it's not.
So,
go ahead.
So I was just talking about, that's just a wonderful piece, and I think everyone should check out that CD. It's the LA Philharmonic and Zubin Mehta conducting. But Bill, we're talking about Timpani Concerti, and I want to talk a little bit about that. You know, selfishly, I want to learn about your concerti a little bit more. How did the first Timpani Concerto came about? Was it something you really wanted to do, or was there someone who gave you the nudge to compose the first Timpani Concerto?
I'd already written the concerto for 4 percussion soloists and orchestra, which went very well. And after a few years, I was thinking that this is strange that would write for everything else, but not the timpani. Not my own instrument. I said, this is crazy.
Your instrument in the orchestra, yes.
And I never really liked being a soloist. I was self-conscious at the time. But it was good for my psyche that I was a soloist, because it helped my personality. I had a little more courage. Talk back to a conductor, for instance, you know.
Yes.
Anyway.
But you wrote the first Timpani Concerto in a very short period of time in McDowell. Right? It's just a few months or something. Very quickly.
Oh, no, not that.
The first Timpani Concerto.
I'm trying to
your mother passed away during the time.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so you were kind of second movement was completed, dedicated to your mom.
That's right. Yeah, about being composed quickly was because I went to a colony, Huntington, Hartford.
It was a McDowell.
What?
It's a McDowell.
What'd you say?
McDowell, you know.
McDowell.
Colony, you always very famous.
Macau. Yeah, Macau. Yeah.
McDowell.
Style.
Yeah. Okay.
Style.
Okay. So you went
29. How have we been married?
29 years. Yeah.
I'm still having trouble.
So
I really have to learn Chinese.
Okay.
Simone is asking about Tiffany Concerto. How did you first one?
Well, then I realized that I had written a percussion concerto, and it seemed silly. I was the timpanist with the orchestra, and it seemed that I should write for my own instrument. So that's how it came about. I was at, did I go to, I think I was at
McDowell Colony.
The McDowell Arts Colony.
Do you remember? No.
Yeah.
Your mom died when you're still there.
What's the name of the? Oh, Huntington, Hartford.
Whatever. Yes.
Yeah, Huntington, Hartford had a colony in LA County, outside Brentwood, in a canyon.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, it's time. You know, I should really write for my own instrument.
Mm-hmm.
I said, if you do that, you're going to have to play it.
Mm-hmm.
I started at home, and it was going slowly, you know, because I was doing everything. I was working with the Philharmonic and teaching. But I said, I've got to do something about this. And I heard about this artist colony, Huntington, Hartford.
Mm-hmm.
I applied to go there. And after working for months on the concerto, I finished the rest in 1 week.
Wow.
Perfect. Virgil Thompson was there, and he described it as perfect for composing.
Mm-hmm.
Very quiet and rather boring.
Mm.
It's somewhat pleasant and rather boring. That was the way.
Yes.
What else are you going to do but compose? You know.
Right.
So I get up in the morning and start. For breakfast and after breakfast, you know, and go as long as I could, as long as the muse was around, I would write. And I finished the concerto in a week. So that was terrific.
Yes.
Yeah,
it is wonderful. I mean, I have to thank you, Bill, because that's the first concerto that I'm like, I haven't played it yet. I would like to play. I want to send it to some of my conductors. I have a couple of positions around here in Chicago, but anybody checking it out, Randy Max has a wonderful recording on YouTube for the concerto. Randy Max, he recorded in '93, I believe, with Rotterdam Philharmonic. So everyone should check that recording out because he does a wonderful job doing that concerto.
Oh, God. Randy, I was at a rehearsal, and Randy was playing, and he was taking that at about a metronome mark of 140.
Okay.
Oh, no, I take it back. I think it was 120. And I had given a tempo of 90 to 110.
Okay.
And Randy was taking it at 120 and going like crazy.
Wow.
And so I said to him, Randy, you know, the tempo is somewhere around 100, between 90 and 110, somewhere around. Cause what I was getting at stylistically was that it would swing. You know,
wow. Mm-hmm.
You know, the phrasing, you know, it was best played by some timpanists who had the experience playing jazz.
Mm-hmm.
So I said to him, Randy, you're playing it at about 120. Well, I marked it 90 to 100. He said, but it burns at 120.
Yes. Yeah.
So what could I say? He's terrific.
Yeah. It is a terrific concerto, and yeah, everyone should check it out. So unless you have anything else to say about the first concerto, Bill, I was wondering about the second concerto because I believe David Herbert had to give you an extra nudge to you didn't really want to write a second timpani concerto. Is that right?
I think that is right. It's a long time ago, but I think that's right.
Yeah, it was a commission, you know, by the Michael Tilson Thomas. It's a commission, and the David was there, you know, with all this 14 timpanists.
14 what?
Drums, you know, timpanists.
No.
How many?
No, not with him.
Yeah, with it.
No, he had a regular timpani set up.
No, David.
No, it was
premiere. David Herbert.
That's right. David had piccolo timpani made by Walter Light. Extending the range. Oh boy.
He got up to like above like a G, wasn't it a G that he was getting above middle C, something like that?
No, that doesn't sound right. I thought it was
maybe Shannon.
No,
I don't know.
I'm sorry, better not get.
Yeah, Shannon is here. Maybe Shannon knows what the high drum is.
Yeah, I have photos. I go.
High A, Bill. High A.
Okay.
High
A. So pretty much the octave was extended by an octave. So Shannon says the tenor timpani is getting to a high A. Is that correct?
I don't remember.
Treble clef A. Yes.
This reminds me. I saw just Stravinsky one day, and during rehearsal, I went down to talk to him. We were doing the premiere of Agon.
Okay.
And, the way that the music was going,
here's the photo of David.
Wow, that's cool. So, yes.
15 drums.
15. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's because David had 9 timpani, piccolo timpani made to extend the range up to C sharp. And asked me to write for them. And I said, David, if I write for them, I'll get only one performance. And he said, well, yeah, but you'll be famous. Okay.
But actually, there are a lot of performances.
Yes, that is not true.
Yeah. James Basno and the St. Louis and the Shannon Wood and France. In France, what's the name?
Right.
The
France, the Timpanist in France.
Yeah, what's the very famous. He's wonderful.
If anybody knows here, let us know. But it sounds familiar.
Yeah, he's very famous. David Herbert knows him too. Yeah. He's a wonderful Timpanist.
Benoit Chamberlain. Benoit Chamberlain. Yeah, correct. Yeah. So there's another plug. This is the CD with Bill's both timpani concerti. You guys should buy it over here. I got it. So
John,
thank you.
Yeah,
that's 10 cents for me.
Of course.
No, I don't know about that.
Yeah, it was a good album.
It's not worth talking about.
Yeah, so it's a great album.
We were joking about the number of timpani and what you had to do to go from low to high, and that's when they took the photo. Yeah.
Yes. No, that's
the spread.
That's very cool. You know, I had David recently in the podcast, and I want to thank David actually because he connected us. He, it was a very David thing. He likes to get things done. So I was speaking with him about potential guests, and he had this great idea. He was like, "You guys, you should have Bill and Joni," and so I'm very thankful for you guys coming in the show.
Thank you. Yeah.
But it's very like David wanting to get something done, you know? So he wanted that second concerto so bad from you that he went and he expanded the range and you guys created this wonderful second timpani concerto.
Yeah, that's because of David. I remember all the time during the premiere. He had 7 performances. 7 years. The first premiere, 2005.
7?
Yeah, because in the Davis Hall.
That's right.
The first premiere had 7 performances. Yeah.
Wow,
David,
that's wonderful. And
Ah,
Yes, I actually David was supposed to play your concerto, your first one here in Chicago. We'll see what happens with the cancellations with concerts and stuff, but I think he was
Yeah,
supposed to do it in January. Um,
supposed with
wait a minute.
Muti.
yeah.
Your first timpani concerto.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's supposed that next January, but then
Hmm.
now with the pandemics, you never know. Yeah, it's just so sad about the
I
situation.
know.
And
I know. Bill, there's somebody here wants to hear the anecdote about Egon's premiere. You were telling us really quickly. There was something reminded you of an interaction with Stravinsky. Stravinsky told you something during Egon's premiere.
Oh, uh, yes. Uh, the part there's there, there's a phrase uh, where I realized harmonically that he avoided going to a high B.
Mm.
I mean, the way the phrase went, I knew it was clear to me that it should have been a B natural. I forget if it was an A or a B flat, something like that, but I saw that he avoided. So I went down to him at intermission and I said, Maestro, it seems to me that you would have preferred a B natural here. And he said, yes, but I did not think you could get that. I said,
Mm-hmm.
oh, yes, I can get it. It was a B flat that he had originally.
Mm.
I said, it should be a B natural. And he said, but I thought you could not get it. I said, oh wait a minute, I know what this.
So yeah, so you're expanding. You help him expand the range, right? You were able to reach the B. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, what?
You were
yeah,
able to reach the B.
I can't hear you both at the
sorry.
same time. What?
You were able to reach the B, the higher B. So Stravinsky.
Yeah, I'm piccolo timpani.
Mm-hmm.
I go up to C easily with it.
Mm.
C sharp with plastic heads.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, I thought you wanted to be natural here. And he says, yes, but I did not think you could play that high.
Mm-hmm.
I said, oh, yes. Uh, it was a B flat.
Mm.
I said, but Maestro, you had a B natural in Agon. He says, I did? I said, yes, you did.
Yeah. Well, I've heard that Stravinsky was very particular about his rhythm, right? The rhythm, precision, and stuff. Perhaps he was maybe a little more loose with regarding specific notes, but his main thing was the rhythm. If I'm not wrong.
Oh, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Half his
Um,
show was rhythm, you know.
mm-hmm.
Ever since Dakra, uh, he was remembered. I mean, what an effect he had on the rhythmic aspect of composing. It affected a lot of drummers, a lot of composers,
Mm-hmm.
when they saw the freedom that
Yeah.
one could have, you know.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
was you can tell Simon about your the experience about the play sacred. I mean
The
the
Rite of Spring.
you
The what?
you was
Yeah.
that Zuben got lost, but you kept it going.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember the
Yeah, the last page, you know, oh, the 5/16, bum, bum, ba, bum, bum, bum,
Uh-huh.
bum, ba, bum, you know. And we're playing along there, and it was clear that Zubin was lost, you know. Conductors start to conduct in circles, and, you
Yeah.
know.
yeah.
You showed him who the real conductor was in that performance, huh?
Well, I had a part to play, I played it, you know.
Yes.
I
Yes.
mean, but that's, of course, every
Uh-huh.
musician orchestra must
Mm-hmm.
play the music.
Mm-hmm.
Can't rely on the conductor for everything, not near everything, you know.
Right.
Your obligation is to play the damn part. You
Yep.
know?
Mm-hmm. Bill.
So he came off stage and said to the contractor, "Thank God for Bill Kraft." And next night, he asked me, "What were you thinking last night?" I said, "I was thinking, how could you do this to me?" And he says, "You thought that?" I said, "Yes, Zubin. You are hard to ignore." You know, because he didn't back off at all.
Yes.
What, slashing away, you know? He's totally wrong.
Yes. Well,
after the performance, the principal second violinist, the principal bassist, and I don't remember who else, came over and said, "We didn't know what he was doing, so we were just following you."
yes.
And I said, "What if I made a mistake?" "Oh, that would have been interesting."
Yes.
No.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That's
Yes.
why I think the timpani is so important in the orchestra. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Timpanist is considered the second conductor.
Yes. Absolutely. And then you were also, I mean, you were also a great conductor. You had a great relationship with Zubin. I mean, you were his assistant conductor for a few years.
Yes.
How did that happen? How did he ask you to become his assistant, or did you ask? Were you
Oh
interested?
no, I never had ambitions. I never had ambitions as a conductor. It didn't suit my personality. I didn't have that kind of chutzpah to tell 100 people what to do.
Mm.
It just came about. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I started conducting. One night we were rehearsing a percussion quartet of mine. I forget which one it was. And we were having trouble in one movement. So I said, "Wait, let me conduct it so you'll see what really goes on." So I conducted the other three players, and I came back, and Forrest Clark, a wonderful drummer, strange mind. I used to call him the intermittent brain. He's a wonderful player, but you never knew what he was going to do. You know, kind of guy who would go to the wrong city when we were on tour. Anyway, Forrest said, I got up there to conduct this section where we were having trouble. And he said, "My God, it's so much easier when you conduct." So that was it.
Wow. Wonderful.
I didn't think of becoming a conductor.
Yes.
I studied conducting mainly to be able to conduct my own music if it became necessary.
Uh-huh. Well, that's wonderful, and that just maybe that just speaks of the great rhythm you have, and you know, sometimes that's something lacking in conductors. You know, having good time and a good sense of rhythm and clarity.
It's always nice if they have good time.
Yes.
It's not nice when they don't.
Yes, absolutely. So time flies by, Bill. We only have 5 minutes. Believe it or not, I cannot believe we have only 5 minutes. But really quick, I mean, I just want to say how remarkable your encounters are. Your chamber pieces for percussion and other instruments. You know, there's a wonderful one. We had Joan Ye, actually, great clarinetist from the CSO, is joining us here. But it reminds me, you have this encounter for clarinet and percussion that is wonderful.
Clarinet?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, what's the woman with UCLA?
Oh God, yes. Oh my
Okay.
God. I forgot that completely.
Yeah, that was rather recent. Encounters with clarinet and percussion was a rather recent one. The last one, 16.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you have 16 different pieces with encounters.
Uh-huh.
You want
The,
to
the Quartet for the Love of Time.
What?
quartet?
For the
I mean,
Love of Time.
Quartet for the love of time. Yeah.
yeah.
That's a wonderful
That's
piece.
why I got that title. It came from.
Messiaen was because
Oh yeah,
same
the Messiaen.
same instrumentation.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I called it the Messiaen is 45 minutes long, and I can't stand that length. You know,
Wow.
it's my problem,
Mm-hmm.
and so I thought I'd reverse that and call my piece For the Love of Time.
Uh-huh.
I always wrote on the short side. You know,
I see.
most of my chamber music is no more than 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
No more.
Yeah, just wonderful. I mean, it's just a reminder. There's so many pieces out there. I mean, we know John Yates is a great companion to the Messiaen, to the Messiaen. Sorry, pardon my French, but it's a great companion to the Messiaen.
Yeah.
And
Okay. Yeah.
also, Bill, you have, I mean, all these pieces that I think are so underrated. I think people should play them a lot more. Like you have the soliloquy for solo percussion and tape. I love that piece. You know, if anybody checking out, trying to do recitals, graduate recitals, they should check out that piece.
That's great. I like it too.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean is that some pieces are more personal than others.
Mm-hmm.
And that one is a personal favorite of mine. So I'm glad you played it, and I'm glad you liked it. Yeah.
I think so too. I think it's wonderful. I think everyone should check that out. As well as, you know, of course, the pieces you're more famous for, the French suite and the English suite. So, anyways, we got about 2 minutes. Bill and Joan, it's been really wonderful. Is there anything you would like to add, you know, for any young percussionists or any young composers who would like, you know, to pursue a career? Do you have any parting messages?
You will say to the young
To composers?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I haven't thought about something like that in a long time. Well, don't try to be something you are not. In other words, when I began, I had my Shostakovich period, then I had my Hindemith period, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I realized that's not the way to become a composer. You know? They should know it's my music. So I looked at gestures in my music, things that were mine.
Mm-hmm.
And I've found always the influence of jazz.
Great. Bill, we have, so I'm so sorry to interrupt. We got about 20 seconds. So I just want to add to that. Yeah, it sounds like you want to encourage people to have their own voice. I want to thank you so much, Bill and Joan. Everyone should check out your music, both of you. This was such a fun conversation. Thank you so much for joining and for everyone listening. That was really